So this is a little trick that I use often because this won't loop automatically because my ending position is from the top. My beginning position is from the side. So I'm simply going to duplicate this. Instead of Control C, Control V, I'm simply going to hold down Alt as I drag a copy over. Now getting it to line up exactly is difficult. So I leave myself a good gap and then right click on the gap and choose Ripple Delete. And now you can see that it is going to just go and repeat. Now that's not going to help us much unless we reverse it. To do that, right click on the clip and go to Speed Duration. This is how you can also slow things down or speed them up. But what I want to do is simply reverse my second video. So this is what it looks like when it gets to the end of the first clip. And then it's just going to go back the other way. In fact, if I want more time now, I can Alt drag over, Ripple Delete that, and now it will repeat that full sequence twice. So that gives me 47 seconds, more than enough time for what I'm trying to do. Now I have not yet removed the background. So it can be easier, instead of dealing with 4 independent pieces and adding the effect 4 separate times, I'm going to right click on the all 4 selected and use the nesting. That is simply going to make one single item out of it. So I'm going to call this my model cycle. And see how it's just one green one? If I need to, I can double click and see the individual parts. But basically, I've got that squared away. Now I'm going to remove the black part. But I'm not going to be able to tell because transparency and black look the same. So I'm going to make a new solid, our warning color basically. File, new solid. It's going to be actually called Color Matte here in Premiere. It's solid in After Effects. And I'll use my red warning color just so I can see how much of it is gone, or just use white because that's going to be the most contrast with the black. Now it does help if you color this. So white background. Now we have to find that white background over here. And that's going to be easier if we go back, expand this up, and where is it? I don't see it. Did it end up in the folder? This happens to me quite frequently. Like, where is it? I don't see it. Let me select this again and try. File, new, Color Matte. I'm going to make it white. Name it white background. And there it is. I'm going to drag it underneath. So it does need to be on the video 1 track. And you can make it as long as you need to. Now I cannot see it because I have not removed the black yet. For that, I'm going to need an effect. So I can switch my workspace. This is the other way of doing that, over to the effects workspace, so that I have a place where I can search for the effect. It's actually going to be under video effects and keying. Keying is the term used for removing a color from your video. Now, if you've got green in your background, you went that extra step in Blender to render a green screen background, or magenta, or yellow, or whatever color isn't in your model, then Ultra Key is the way to go. But Ultra Key cannot remove black. So instead, we're going to use Color Key. It's a simpler form, fewer controls, but I'm going to drag and drop it right on top of Model Cycle, that nested sequence there. Let me go back to my editing workspace now that we've got that effect. So I can go to my effect controls for my model cycle, and here it is, the color key. I'm going to choose the color that I'm going to remove, black. You'll notice that right at first it's not doing a great job, which is why we needed that white background. If that wasn't there, we'd be like, oh, did it get rid of it? Did it not? We don't really know. So we're going to need to make some adjustments in order to make that work. And that is done here with the color tolerance. These are small adjustments. We don't just want to drag the number way up high. If I change 0 to 1, there's really no difference. If I change it to 2, most of the black goes away. I'm going to go to 100% so you can see this a little bit better. And we still have a lot of noise. So let's see if we can thin out the edge there. I'm going to put a 2 on that as well. And you can see we've got still a lot of noise along the edge. If I take that a little bit more, maybe do my color tolerance a little bit higher. So once you get close, it may be time to feather that edge just a little bit. So this is not the cleanest, best way to go. Green screen is, but you can work with whatever you already have rendered with a black background. Now we can do our star field pretty easily with this. If you've got a lot of darkness in your model, it can be really, really hard. But here is, we're just going in and getting rid of most of it. If we look, you can see the edges are a little bit blurry, but that should work. That should work. So we've got our black keyed out using color key, and the model will just continue to spin for a good 47 seconds, just going back and forth and back and forth. The trick here is going to be now keyframing its size so we can make it fly in at us and use some transitions to make it dissolve away in interesting ways as well. So we'll see how well this turns out. We may want to come back and tweak some of those and try and do a better job, but we've gotten rid of the background.